Okay, tell me when you're ready and I'll start. Hello everyone, my name is Richard Yap. I'm here to introduce to you a concept that has been divinely dropped into my consciousness when I did an Akashic Records journaling in my meditation. I live with my beautiful partner in Perth, and we're fortunate to live near the Swan River. And a ritual I enjoy is to go down to the Swan River on sunrise, watch the sun, and then get into my Akashic Records. The Akashic Records is your book of life. It is an energetic book of life that everyone has access to. For those of you that know Lee Carroll, who channels Cryon, he talks about the Akash. And one of his latest books is Mining the Akash. So this information I'm about to share with you has come from this space. What is it about? It is really a profound description of life in its fullness. And so when you go on your spiritual journey, you read all the esoteric books, they all come to one conclusion, that there is an intelligence, a source that is above everything else. People call it God, ultimate God, creator, all that is. It's not little g, it's capital G. When you look at religions, there's many little g's, little gods around the place. So we're talking about the one big G. And the one big G, all that is this thing called love. It is complete purity. The issue is love is this quality and word that is completely bandied around, misused, disused, misunderstood. So let's define that properly. But first of all, I'd like to introduce you to this perspective and concept of life. It is the cosmic dance of love. I googled the internet to see if I could find anything like that, and there's nothing. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube on cosmic dancing, but there's nothing on the cosmic dance of love. So let's unpack what this means. So first of all, the first principle of love is that love starts with source. And people say that's unconditional love or pure love. Then love goes out from itself. And all of us are a spark of consciousness, an essence of divinity that is like a drop of the ocean that goes out from itself. So when you look at the ocean, the water evaporates into a drop, coalesces in the clouds, comes down into the rivers. And so the journey of that starts in the ocean, goes up into the clouds all over, into an amazing series of different places, back into the ocean. So love does that. And it is a cosmic dance. Now let's look at what cosmic dance means. First of all, cosmic. It is your consciousness going through a journey through multiple dimensions. And it doesn't stay in one place, nor is it restricted to anything. And it is a dance. And what is a dance? A dance is an exuberant expression of joy, love, and whatever experiences you carry inside that need to be shared. You can dance on your own, you can dance with other people, you can dance in a group, you can dance in a tribe. So it's this dance all the way through. And what is it? It's a dance of love. And when you look at the dance of love, and you unpack the words love, what is love? It's light. O is oneness. V is vitality. And E is evolving. So when you look at this definition of love and you bring it back to the cosmic dance, it's very profound. And when you take the perspective of your life and what's going on in the moment, look at what's happening on the planet with the precession of equinox, with massive change coming. And you evolve in your consciousness to the understanding that what is happening around you is part of the unreality of the cosmic dance of love. Because one of the things that came through is that in order for love to go out from itself to know itself, it has to go away from itself. And this is separation. Separation is actually part of love. The problem is we, as people, in our minds, think that separation is the opposite of love. It is, and it isn't. It is the opposite of love when you look at it in linear duality and polarity. But it is not the opposite because it is one of the same thing. And this requires looking at it from a different perspective. On a chessboard, in the game of life, there's white and black pieces. There's victory and there's losses. But when you look at it from the perspective of the creator of a game, the pieces are just pieces, and it's just a game. So there's different levels of looking at things. This perspective, this concept of love, is important to get into place to fully appreciate what cosmic dancing is and how love moves in and out and goes through. So when you do this and you understand that the reality actualization of love, RAW love, goes out from itself to know itself. And the reason why it has to go out from itself to know itself is because that is the only way it can pack the density and intensity of love. Because when love goes out from itself and experiences the opposite and the void of love and the darkness, and comes back and maintains its essence, when it comes back to its origin, the density and intensity of that love is magnified. What does that mean? An example of that is somebody who has gone through difficult times, tragedy, maintained their integrity and purity of love, and then at the end of that, there has been this amazing expression. A perfect example is Nelson Mandela. In prison for 27 years, something like that, hard labor. In that time, he maintained his love, integrity, and his purpose. When he comes out, the time that he spent there has allowed him to increase and magnify the intensity of love and purpose. So when you have to wait so long to do something, it becomes far deeper and more powerful. So what happens? He ends up becoming one of the greatest statesmen the world has ever known. And people say that he just stands in a room and his presence, in terms of who he is profound. Another gentleman who's done something amazing that I had the privilege of meeting last December is Satish Kumar. And at a very tender age, he and his friend decided they were going to do a peace walk from India, the grave of Mahatma Gandhi, all the way to Washington. And they would visit all the nations that had nuclear weapons. And they were just going to walk. And his guru said, do two things. Number one, stay vegetarian. Number two, do not have a penny in your pocket. So if that isn't experiencing the opposite of love, according to what we know, that's profound. So in that experience, he learned a lot, trusted, and grew in love through going through adversity, challenge, and what people would say is the opposite of love and separation. And then when you meet him now, the man is incredible in terms of the sainthood he carries, the talk, the love he has for people, the insight, and he's certainly a very highly evolved person. That is an example of going through the cosmic dance of love. So how do you start all this? One of the issues about dancing is you've got to know where you start. Then you've got to know the symphony and the song of your life being played at that time. And for you to dance to the song, you have to be in sync with it. And this is the problem that most people have in lives. They are completely out of sync with the universe. And there's something called the natural order of destiny. Everybody has a natural order of destiny. And what your natural order of destiny is the passion seeds of your heart that require the expression of the greatest purpose in your life. And the greatest purpose in your life is your Mount Everest. Your task is to find it first, then climb it. And when you climb your Mount Everest, you will then know that your time on this planet has served not just people, humanity, but the universe. So how do you know what it is? Well, this is part of going on a journey of discovery. When you go on a journey of discovery, it's about transcending different levels of awareness and perspectives. So, the first question to ask is, how much freedom do you have in your life? What are your restrictions? And with your answer, there is no judgment on it. So, if you have a job that you dislike because you feel you have to do it and you don't have any choice, that is your perspective, and that is your current dance platform. And your current dance platform, when you've got a job that gives you a lot of restrictions and you can't do much, and this is your dance platform, that's where you're going to be. They're your footsteps, backwards and forwards, until you decide yourself that that dance platform is where you do not wish to be, and you come to an awareness that, oh, I can actually step off this and go and do something else. And then the other thing is to listen to the beat, the song of the universe. When you're doing a dance and you're completely oblivious to the music, then the steps are going to be all over the place. Sometimes you just might be standing there waiting because you can't hear the song. And I'm sure you know people in your lives that do that. They mark time, they sit, they wait for something that's not going to come because their expectations are completely out of sync with nature and the natural order of destiny. So, the awareness is extremely important. Without awareness, you're not going to be able to go on the journey of freedom. Now, to be able to, first of all, find your Mount Everest, you need to be able to go look. Then the second thing is, to climb it is not an easy thing either, because it requires you to actually let go of a lot of things. People who climb Everest don't do that with their wardrobe or their kitchen sink. You have to leave that behind. For a lot of people, that is not acceptable, because the dance floor that they wish to stand on revolves around a foundation called their comfort and convenience. And the reason why it revolves around the comfort and convenience is because outside that is a lot of fear. Then when you look at fear, it takes you into a whole different area of why, where it comes from back in history. So, where do you start? I'd like to borrow a parable and a story from Creon, which I really like. And that is this. It is called The House in the Fog. And you can read it in Creon's channelings. And the metaphor is this. Everyone who is born into this world ends up living in a fog because they don't remember who they are. They are programmed by the matrix, the education system, the energies around, etc. And so they live their lives in a fog. They are sheeple who are herded by authorities and forces outside themselves, which they don't have control on, and they subserve themselves to because they don't know any better. And so people go around living their lives in a fog. And then they kind of know there's a house somewhere. That house is titled M-E, me. They go looking. But what happens is they find a house and they go in, and a lot of times it's not their house. It's somebody else's. So what happens is they then express their lives from somebody else's desires, dreams, intentions, values. And they don't know any better because that's the only house they found in the fog. For those who are brave, they will leave that house and keep looking. When they find theirs and they walk in and they go on to the first level, all of a sudden, within the first level, in the rooms that they go through, are remembrance of who they are. Another room is past lives. Another room is insight on the passions in their heart. Another room is an insight on the relationships that they have in their life and the interplay of what's going on and some of the key lessons that they need to learn. So this is on the first level. And they go on this journey of discovery whereby they have this awakening and they start doing research and they realize that everything's back to front. Everything they've been told is fed a lie. So you go into your first level and you have this discovery that truth is stranger than friction. Then when you go along this and you change your friends, because that's what happens when you evolve, you change your friends, then there's a staircase leading up to the second level. And when you go to the second level, things shift significantly. Because in the first level, you're still functioning in life like driving through life, except that this time you've expanded where you're going. You're not going where you're told, you're going where you are looking. Go up to the second level, and all of a sudden, there, you find that when you go inside yourself and you look and you draw out from inside of the unlimited wellspring of inner wisdom, knowledge, talent, abilities, you can do all sorts of things. And in the second level, you discover an aspect of health and vitality whereby everything that you've learned in the fog about aging, death, disease, incapacitation associated with age is irrelevant, because you can do something called transcend all that. That's at the second level. And in the second level, you then discover your higher senses, which the ancients all knew about. You know, the mystery schools in Egypt, whereby they were able to get into manifestation, into time travel, into astral travel. And then they were able to go into multi-dimensions. And at the highest level, the 12th sense, when you get there, which only a very small number of avatars in history have achieved, one of them is Jesus that we know about. And this is when consciousness exits dimensionalization. And what this means is you go back into nothing, the void. And the void is where it all is. The void, the nothingness, is where it all started. In the beginning was nothing. And so the big G, God creator, is the uncreated in nothing. So when love finishes its journey, it goes into this 0 point, this nothingness. So at the second level, you discover all these possibilities. Then, once you're there for a sufficient time and you've built this new insight and this evolution of your life, and when you spend enough time in the second level, your life then evolves at an incredible rate, where 1 year versus the next, the shift is profound. Not only that, the synchronicity happening in your life changes in terms of its frequency and impact and intensity. Then there is a third level. The third level is like the capstone of the pyramid. In the third level, you then become an incredible, powerful instrument of the divine. In this space, free will is completely absolved into 100% divine will, which means not my will, but yours be done. And your life becomes a full expression of that. When it becomes a full expression of that, then your life just functions at a level above the cloud, below all the stuff that goes on. And in this space, it is incredibly magical, because you end up playing the biggest game on the planet that extends to the universe, because you are then truly on your Mount Everest and climbing it, and your life then becomes the greatest expression of light and love for you. So this is the pathway. Now along the way, it's not a straight path. Evolution is a helical and cyclical process. So when you look at the planets and how they revolve around each other, planet Earth, we're not stationary. We get dragged across the universe on this planet in a helical kind of orbit. And the helical orbit isn't in a straight line either. It goes all over the place. And this is what the cosmic dance is all about. And our lives, when we get into the swing and symphony of the universe, becomes like that dance that takes you to all sorts of experiences and places that you just can't imagine. We live in a multidimensional world. The other dimensions are there for you to explore. The Lucia light is a powerful tool that takes you into these dimensions. And it's going to be really exciting taking all of you into that journey. The cosmic dance of love also requires you to transcend many levels. Basic level is this. Are you aware of who runs the world at the moment? That the world economic system is controlled by a small number of families. That everything that's happened, like the stock market crash, World War I, World War II, has been deliberate and part of a long plan. Our history books don't tell us that. And then, are you aware of the nature of commerce? Whereby we live in a world that is based on fiction in the corporate area. That money has no value. So once you do some research and be aware of that, all of a sudden, it changes some of the things that you do. The conundrum is this. When people learn these things, they go, I want to get out. But that's not a solution either, because to get out of the system, you actually have to go out of the cities, out of society, go and have a farm where you can grow all your own food and be 100% self-sufficient with a community of people. Many have tried, and it doesn't work. So what do you do? I went on this route for about 2.5 years, some years ago. And when you look at that situation, there is no solution. When there's no solution, you transcend dimension and function from there. Then when you do that, it makes a big difference. And so, when you discover your house in the fog and start going up the stairs, and you become at one with your true self, and you are able to flow with the beat of the universe and float in this life. And when you float, you fulfill love in oneness with your awareness that's transcending. So then you can transcend everything that happens. In the universe, the two top things are both light and sound. Sound actually started before light. But when you work with those two at the highest level in the quantum space, you can shift dimensions significantly. And that will allow you to dance to a whole different level. So, I will finish with these words. Where are you dancing? How big is your platform? Who are you dancing with? And are you dancing to the song of the universe? I'm Richard Yap.